Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another video for The Division. Now if you didn't catch last week's video, then be sure to head over to the channel at the end and check it out, as I spoke about crafting and how we can expect to see it work in The Division, and whether it'll end up being crafting as you'd come to expect it, or more upgrade related. But that's enough for last week. What am I talking about this week? And the answer to that question is exotic weapons. So, first up, before I get into the topic of exotic weapons, I will say that this is going to be a bit of a speculation video. I always try to bring you guys facts wherever possible, and this video is built on a factual foundation, as you'll see in a second. But the actual weapon specifics, well, I'm going to be making some educated guesses. But either way, let's do this. So, as you may know, a few weeks back, the Division team released their first official podcast. It's well worth a listen. I'll link it in the description box down below if you haven't already heard it, but it was a chance to meet, albeit virtually, some of the team behind the Division, but also a chance to find out more about the game itself and get some questions answered. And the reason I bring this up is because of one particular statement in the podcast. At about the 29-minute mark, the topic of weapons came up, and while they aren't in a position just yet to confirm the complete weapons list, one thing they did confirm is that, as well as the game having things like assault rifles, light machine guns, sniper rifles, shotguns and many more commonly expected weapons, it will also have some slightly more exotic weapons not so commonly seen in other games. Exotic weapons, you say? Well, now we're talking. We already know that in the Division there will be better, more desirable weapons in Dark Zones, given that in order to take them home and make them your own, you have to go through a pretty serious ordeal to get them out. And there will also no doubt be more dangerous, non-PvP focused areas in the game that will similarly present a challenge with the added reward of an awesome weapon. And while we know that some of these weapons will be desirable simply because of their modifications, like sights, stocks, underbarrel attachments, etc., it now transpires that there may be some desirable weapons based on their exotic or rare nature. So, those are your facts, and that is the foundation of this video. Now I'm going to speculate, or make some educated guesses, but bear with me. I'm not just going to pluck guns out the air and say, hey, I hope there's a Tesla rifle or a plasma rocket launcher, because that'd just be silly. Instead, I want to take a look at some of the slightly more exotic weapons from existing Tom Clancy games, namely Splinter Cell and Rainbow Six. Given that they all take place in relatively believable settings, and the weaponry is, more often than not, within the realms of possibility, I figured they'd be a good place to go to look at some potentially more exotic weapons that we could see in the Division. It's also worth noting that we are looking for weapons that don't typically appear in your regular shooter. So, while I'd like to say something like a crossbow is an obvious and rather exotic choice, crossbows and bows seem to have become the new zombies in video games lately. Everybody seems to be running around with these things like they all bought them from the same convenience store. So, given that it was stated that we are looking at more exotic weapons not so commonly seen, I'd actually say we wouldn't see crossbows simply because they fall under that exact category. They could obviously be their own weapon class, I just wouldn't categorise them as exotic. So, what other options do we have? Well, let's start by looking at Splinter Cell. From Splinter Cell Double Agent, there was a weapon known as the SC-303 Compact Launcher. It's a compressed air-powered launcher designed to fire non-lethal ammunition. And I know what you're going to say, why would I want a non-lethal gun? Well, remember that the game is set in a world that is attempting to overcome and recover from a virus, which means you'll no doubt come across infected people. Seeing as we're the good guys, I very much doubt our orders are to shoot on sight, so perhaps some sort of non-lethal takedown could be in order. That also means we could see things like tasers and stun guns. But okay, maybe they are a little bit too boring to be considered exotic. What about something like this? This is actually a concept assault rifle that was supposed to be used by Upsilon forces in the Spies vs Mercs mode in Double Agent, but it never actually made it into the final version of the game. It's based on the FNF2000 and it includes features such as an adjustable flashlight, a grenade launcher attachment, and an advanced attachable sight, or scope. But then maybe we're going a little bit too overpowered now. In a world where we're trying to pick up the pieces, maybe we're looking at something slightly more old school. So how about something like this, the Raging Bull? A revolver seen in Rainbow Six, a potent weapon with plenty of stopping power, also used to hunt animals due to its sheer power. The only reason I bring this one up is because, more often than not, sidearms in games are more commonly pistols on the more modern offerings as opposed to things like revolvers. Alternatively, if we bring it back to the Division for a second, think about something like Flamethrowers. We've seen that the cleaners carry them around, and I would imagine that upon killing them, they may well drop their weapons. Flamethrowers are pretty exotic, not that commonly seen, so could well be something you can add to your arsenal. And also, something that was said in one of the alpha rumor leaks, it was said that you can rappel down buildings. So perhaps we're looking at something like a grappling hook. I imagine this might not be something that's just given out to everybody, so it could be something that, upon finding it, it will give you an edge. Okay, maybe a grappling hook isn't necessarily a weapon, but hey, maybe it could be used as one. But anyway, I could go on. The list of weapons is quite honestly as long as a piece of string, and I do like to, where possible, try and keep the speculation side of these videos to a minimum. So for now, if you want to think of any potential weapons, then try and picture something that is not so commonly seen in games, but also fits the believable world in which the Division takes place. If you do have any ideas, then drop them in the comments down below. I'd love to see what you guys think. And aside from that, that brings me to the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, hopefully it's given you another glimpse into the world of the Division, and as always, check back next week for more. Don't forget to hit that like button if you did enjoy this video, and if you're not already subscribed and you're not already part of the Arekkz Gaming Nation, then hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single video. Thank you very much for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.